Hello. Yes, that's right. I'm doing another YouTube video. But this time, I'm going to do some Chinese history from the U.S. perspective. Won't be too long. I know, isn't it exciting, pal? Okay. Well, I always go to World War II. And I've talked before about how in World War II started in 1939 when Imperial Japan invaded Manchuria. The United States they developed a very small ramshackle airfield that was hell and high water to make happen. Assisted the Chinese, not any kind of huge kind, but that airfield, and we supported Chiang Kai-shek. Okay. Chiang Kai-shek defeated the Japanese, and Mao Zedong came and forced him to Taiwan and took over China. Okay, that was what, 1940s, World War II era. Then you get to 50s, and you get the Korean War. So we go to war in Korea to stop communism. I believe, well, you have Kim Jong-un, who runs North Korea now, and his father was Kim Jong-il, and I believe his grandfather is Kim Il-sung. But the Chinese had communized Korea, so we went there. MacArthur led the whole. MacArthur, who was in charge of the Pacific in World War II, oversaw the Korean War. Now, the Chinese attacked us when we were in Korea. Like they went from being kind of like not allied, but at the very least neutral. Took help from us under Chiang Kai-shek. Chiang Kai-shek was overtaken by Mao, and Mao did not work with us because he was a communist. So they attacked us. They came over the border into Korea over some bridges. Now, whether they were right or wrong for that, it's not my call, right? I guess you can't blame them. I don't know. But MacArthur called up Eisenhower, I believe, and he said, "Hey, there is I mean, we're talking monumental numbers of Chinese communists coming at us, right? Like they've sneak attacked us in the night, and they're coming over the bridges, and we got to blow these bridges, or we're just going to have to. We don't have enough ammunition, we don't have men for this." So Eisenhower says no and fires MacArthur. Brutal fighting with Koreans and Chinese, hand to hand, no ammunition, just nasty stuff. We held on to South Korea, divided Korea at the 58th, 52nd parallel, 58th parallel, did the DMZ, and never did anything but a ceasefire, I think. So that's a quagmire with China right there. And then you have Vietnam. You see, the French were there was a thing called French-controlled Indochina, which was the French colonial empire. Vietnam. Southeast Asia. The French had waned in power greatly. They held a garrison or barracks that I still don't know how to pronounce it. Dien Bien Phu. That was the location. And the French had strategically chosen the bottom of a basin, like the low ground, to build their base. Now, the Chinese showed up. They were called the Viet Minh. They were Chinese, and Ho Chi Minh, he who brings enlightenment or something like that, was a communist who worked with the Chinese and brought them in. The Chinese artillery strike the French. The French lose so badly that the French garrison commander commits suicide by putting a bullet in his head on the spot. So then JFK's in charge, and he says, we got to start sending military advisors. Like 1960. Maybe I don't know, I can't remember the timeline, but it was early 60s. I'm going to say 64. We start sending advisors to see what's going on. And we realize, okay, it's communism again. And we go about invading Vietnam. Now, there was all sorts of craziness that went on. But that was a fight with communism, the Chinese again. So, we couldn't even hang on to Vietnam, because sentiment over here, we'd been undermined domestically to be, weak, and put a flower in the end of a National Guardsman's gun at, Kent State University, and throw blood on them and call them baby killers and pigs, and create an incident, and then say we need to get out of Vietnam, so we do. So that's the second time. Well, how many times is it now? It's like they stabbed us in the back after World War II. They tried to spread to Korea, and they were half successful. They tried to spread into Vietnam, and they were successful because of, Jane Fonda. And the capital of Vietnam is now called Ho Chi Minh City. We weren't able to go back there until Bill Clinton, I think, in the 90s, opened up trade again. So, nobody ever talks about that. They want to talk about the Vietnam War, and they never talk about how the Chinese were there, initially with the French, and they remained, and the Viet Minh became the Viet Cong. They never talk about how the Chinese came over the bridges into Korea and fought us. Nobody ever talks about how Mao backstabbed Chiang Kai-shek and us and the whole world. Now, okay, I can say this dispassionately because I've known all this for a long time. I have known that, known that. And then you get the Cultural Revolution and all that with the Chinese, Tibet. So it doesn't surprise me. I'm not blown away by any news about how they act or what they do. And I don't, you know what? Honest to God, I don't blame them. I think Donald Trump said that. I don't blame the Chinese for doing what they did. Frankly, it's kind of smart. A little bit of self-preservation. You can't blame them. But now with the coronavirus, now it's like me right now. I started applying for jobs. I was able to fix a couple of things, areas in my life with some things that have been going on. I'm like, okay, get another job. So I start applying for a job, and then this coronavirus thing hits. Okay? Now, I voted for Donald Trump in 2016 because he said he was going to bring manufacturing back. He said he was going to get away from the service economy, bring back manufacturing, and he's doing that, right? So, I just want everybody to calm down about this coronavirus. First of all, drink OJ, wash your hands. Don't make out with people that you don't absolutely have to. And bring the damn ventilator factory back to America and open it up right across from my house and I can work there. Because I don't want to do, it's great, like a restaurant job. Hey, I love cooking. I love feeding people. But very little stability. I don't know. People are always going to need a ventilator. I can work at the factory, right? Sure, why not? Okay, bring the supply chain back. I'll drive a truck, right? I'll drive a truck and haul hydroquatropine, or whatever it is. Can't remember it. I'll haul drugs around, no problem. Ventilators. So, it's the kind of thing. It's like, okay, great. I got things fixed, and Chinese coronavirus out of China, right? Okay, now like, oh, not only am I now, look, okay, so we got to bounce back from that, which we will, and then it's on. Then it's going to be on, because this is exactly what needs to happen. Like when you look at this situation with the Chinese, they're a known at this point. You know what they are. Whether you're you know your enemy or your friends close or whatever. How do you feel about them? Hey, at least now we can change them to a competitor. Like Jesus, try to pull all that industry back with all the business that we can back. Get them out of the damn institutions because you're a strategic competitor now. That can get ugly. And start making things. Start building, factories. I don't care. The standards will be way better. The product will be better. I'd rather pay a few dollars more for something that's going to last, that's made by me in my town, or somebody in, I don't know, Wyoming. Yeah. It's just kind of frustrating. That's all. That's the final thing. It's just frustrating. Like I'm gonna get another job. Like great, I can start moving up, and bam, this. I'm not letting it get me down. And God bless us, everyone.